I need you to lean in for this one, because what you think you know isn't even close. When the photos first hit social media, people thought it was fake. Filters, old pictures, Photoshop, a publicity stunt. Because the person staring back from that screen didn't match the version burned into our memories from 90 Day Fiancé. The face was lighter, the eyes looked clearer, the body almost unrecognizable. And the caption underneath, calm, simple, almost too quiet for something this shocking. Just a few words about feeling free again. That's when fans started asking the same question at the same time. What actually happened behind the scenes when the cameras were gone? I remember the first time this star appeared on our screens. Nervous smile, guarded energy, someone trying to hold it together while the whole world judged every inch of their body, every breath, every emotional reaction. Back then, people laughed. They joked. They made memes. And if we're being honest, a lot of us watched without thinking about how heavy that kind of attention really is. Not just physically, but emotionally. Because wait on 90 Day Fiancé was never just wait. It became a storyline, a punchline, a reason people felt entitled to comment. And now here we are. Years later, same person, completely different presence, and suddenly everyone wants to cheer. Everyone wants to clap. Everyone wants to say, so proud of you. But here's the part nobody was ready for. This transformation didn't start with a diet. It didn't start with a gym membership. It started with a breakdown that almost broke them for good. Before we go any further, I know what you're thinking. Another celebrity weight loss story. Another glow-up narrative. Another carefully edited comeback. I thought that too, until I heard what really happened when the lights shut off and the show moved on to the next scandal. And if you've ever struggled with your body, your mental health, or feeling like the world only sees your flaws, this story is going to hit close. So if you're here for honest stories that don't sugarcoat the pain, take a second and subscribe to Talent Zone updates. Not because we chase drama, but because we tell the human side of it. The part most headlines skip. When the season ended, the fame didn't feel like fame. It felt like exposure. Strangers felt comfortable telling this star they were too big to be loved, too lazy to change, too broken to deserve happiness. And the worst part wasn't the trolls. It was recognizing pieces of truth in some of the cruelty. That's what cuts deepest. When insults echo the fears you already carry in silence. Behind closed doors, food became comfort and punishment at the same time. Some nights it was the only thing that made the noise stop. Other nights it came with guilt so heavy it felt impossible to breathe. Relationships suffered, opportunities slipped away, and every time a mirror appeared, it felt like a reminder of failure instead of reflection. This wasn't laziness. This was survival mode. There was a moment, one quiet moment, that changed everything. No cameras, no producers, no fans, just a doctor's office and a sentence that landed like a punch to the chest. A warning about long-term health. About what would happen if nothing changed. About time running out faster than anyone expected. And instead of motivation, the first feeling was fear. Real fear. The kind that makes your hands shake. That night, scrolling through social media felt like torture. TikTok clips replaying old scenes. Reddit threads dissecting their body like a case study. Tweets saying, they'll never change. Instagram comments laughing about how some people are just built to fail. And that's when the first emotional layer cracked. Not anger, not sadness, exhaustion. The kind where you realize you can't keep fighting everyone and yourself at the same time. The second layer came with isolation. Friends didn't know what to say. Some assumed the money and fame made everything easier. Others quietly drifted away. And in that loneliness, this star made a decision that sounds simple but felt impossible. To stop performing strength and actually ask for help. Therapy, medical guidance, emotional accountability. No shortcuts. No overnight miracles. The third layer was the hardest. Confronting the reasons behind the weight. Trauma that had nothing to do with food and everything to do with control. Old wounds reopened. Childhood memories resurfaced. Patterns repeated until they were finally recognized for what they were. And progress was slow. Painfully slow. Some weeks the scale didn't move. Some days it moved backward. And there were tears. Real ones, not the TV kind. Meanwhile, the internet stayed loud. TikTok creators stitched old clips with cruel jokes. Twitter debates argued whether this star deserved sympathy. Reddit users speculated about surgery, drugs, or secret sponsors. One comment went viral saying, "If it's not natural, it doesn't count." Another said, "They'll gain it all back." Imagine reading that while trying to survive your own reflection. But then came the fourth layer. Quiet consistency. No announcements. No before and after countdowns. Just showing up. Choosing water when comfort begged for sugar. Choosing rest when shame demanded punishment. Choosing movement not to shrink, but to feel alive. Clothes started fitting differently. Energy shifted. Smiles became real. And for the first time, the change wasn't about proving anyone wrong. It was about finally choosing self-respect. Fans noticed before the star said a word. A candid photo at a friend's birthday. A video laughing without hiding behind angles. And suddenly the tone online changed. TikTok comments flooded with, "Wait, is that really them?" Instagram filled with fire emojis and heart reactions. Tweets saying, "I didn't even recognize them." Reddit threads flipped from mockery to admiration. One fan wrote, "This just gave me hope." Another said, "I'm crying because if they can do it, maybe I can too." But here's where the story takes its final turn. The fifth layer. The one nobody saw coming. This transformation wasn't finished when the weight dropped. It was finished when the star spoke up. In a raw, unfiltered post, they admitted something shocking. The weight loss wasn't about looking amazing. It was about surviving a period where they didn't want to exist anymore. About choosing life in the quiet moments when no one was watching. About learning that worth isn't measured in pounds lost but in pain faced honestly. That confession stopped people cold. Comments turned emotional. "I thought I was alone. Thank you for saying this out loud. I needed this today." Even critics went silent. Because suddenly it wasn't a reality star anymore. It was a human being telling the truth we're all afraid to say. That sometimes the biggest weight we carry isn't visible. So now I want to ask you something. When you see these transformations online, do you ever wonder what kind of pain came before the applause? Do you think we celebrate results more than resilience? And if this story stirred something in you, maybe it's because part of you is still waiting to believe change is possible without punishment. This 90-Day Fiancé star didn't just lose weight. They reclaimed their voice. And maybe that's why this story feels different. Because it isn't about perfection. It's about permission. Permission to start messy. Permission to fail forward. Permission to heal loudly or quietly, on your own timeline. And if you're still watching, maybe you needed this reminder too. You're not behind. You're not broken. And your story isn't over just because someone else decided who you were supposed to be. Let me know in the comments what part of this journey hit you the hardest. And stay with Talent Zone updates, because the stories that matter most are the ones that remind us we're human first.